Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the UnderCover Select on the 2022 and up body style Toyota Tundra. The tools we're using for this installation are a ratchet with 1/2-inch socket and a Phillips head screwdriver. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to take our driver's side rail. Now we can tell it's the driver's side rail because it's got the gasket to the inside, and then we've also got the drain cup up at the front side. We're going to remove the block off of the drain cup, and we're going to set that up on top of the bed cap and slide it forward. Now when we slide it forward, we're going to notice that if we have the deck rail system, we've got an end plug that's here. That end plug needs to come out and be discarded so that rail can go all the way up against the bulkhead. We've also got a fiber liner, so we're going to pull that down so that the rail can go all the way up against the bulkhead. Now, before I attach this rail, let me show you a couple of different clamp scenarios. Because this is the Tundra, you may have the deck rail system or you may not. So if you do not have the deck rail system, you're going to have a set of clamps that's black on both sides. What you'll be doing to clamp it together when we get to that part is it'll go back behind the bed cap to clamp in. We have the deck rail system, so we're not going to use this clamp scenario. What we're going to do is we're going to take that apart and discard this piece right here that's got the threads. We're not going to be using that. We'll be using this portion. This is going to go into the rail. So if I rotate this rail up, you're going to notice we've got a channel that's in here. Now in that channel, what I can do is I can take this clamp, insert it into the channel, and then click it into place. All right, once it's clicked into place, I can slide it back and forth along the rail. So I'm going to do all that to all three of my clamps on this side, one in the center and one closer to the tailgate, and then I'm going to be lining it up to here. But before I do that, what I want to do is take the other side of our clamp system. So what we're going to do is here we've got kind of a T-nut, so it kind of makes a little bit of a T here. And what we'll do is we'll take out our end plug in the front, and we'll go ahead and start feeding these T-nuts into the deck rail system, right about where we want to have our clamps. So this one I'm going to put at the end. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and take and insert another clamp here. Insert one right back here. Slide this all the way up against the bulkhead. Also, I just got to go ahead and throw this out there right now. We've got drain tubes for the drain cup here. So we can pop that onto the drain cup and route this drain tube out a kick out. Or this type of scenario here is actually perfect just to pull back the fiber liner, because this is a waterproof fiber liner, and then allow it to just dump behind the fiber liner. That way all the water goes out through the weep holes that are in the bed already. Next, what we can do is line up our clamp to the T-nut on all three locations. And now what we'll do is the black bolt that we took out, we're not going to use. I'm going to show you on the center, but we'll use a silver bolt that comes with the T-nuts that are in the clamp kit, along with a lock washer. So we've got silver bolt, lock washer, then the black flat washer that came out of our clamp setup, and we're just going to slide that in like so and get that started. Now I'm holding this all the way up against the bulkhead and holding it all the way up against the bed cap at the same time. I'm going to tighten this down finger tight for right now, and then I'll go ahead and get the other two lined up as well. The black bolt's going to be too long to be able to use in this, so we'll have silver bolt, lock washer, flat washer, go through, And get that finger tight. All right, now we have everything where we want it. This one's right about towards the center. This one is fairly close to the tailgate. This is fairly close to the bulkhead. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten everything down. We also want to make sure that as we do that, it is definitely drawn all the way up against the bed cap and pulled all the way down. We're going to use a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. We're going to tighten these down to 10 foot-pounds. All right, next we just repeat the same process for the opposite side. Okay, so I just pulled the cover out of the box and I flipped it upside down. So what you're gonna see is you've got a couple of C channels on this side. There's also a couple on the opposite side. If you see C channels facing up, this is the side that goes to the cab. So this is your cab panel. And this side right here, where it has the rubber seal, that's going to sit over top of your bulkhead. So the cab is going to be on the opposite side of this. So I want to point out these because this is where we're going to attach our cover retaining clamps. Everything I do on this side, I'll be doing on the exact same thing on the other side. So what I'll do is I'm going to loosen up these cover retaining clamps. Once I do that, then I can push down. And we've got a carriage bolt that protrudes down now with a square head down there. That square head will be captured inside that channel. That channel will keep that, that bolt from being able to spin. Now, I do want to point out that the notch that's here needs to stay inside that channel whenever we're installing this. But all we're going to do for right now is kind of bring it back as far back in that channel as it can go without falling back out. And we're just going to snug it for right now. Because we're just setting it in place so that it's ready to install onto the rails. We're going to do the same thing with this one. Loosen it up, drop the carriage bolt out, make sure the notch stays inside the channel, snug it back up, and repeat the same thing on the opposite side. Then we can go ahead and put it on top of the rails. All right, now we can go ahead and set it up on top of the rails. Make sure our rubber flap goes over top of the bulkhead. Then I'm also going to slide it all the way forward. Make sure it's all the way up against the bulkhead. I'm going to go ahead and check it side to side and see if it needs to be centered. So, there we go, right about there is where we need to be. Now we can go ahead and fold it one panel at a time back to the tailgate. And as we are folding the cover down, we want to make sure that each panel is centered side to side. And then when we get to the last panel, once we get that one centered side to side, now we can go ahead and test the engagement at the tailgate. So I'm actually lifting this up so I don't shift the cover around when I close the tailgate. Good engagement there. So now we can go ahead and open the tailgate. We can fold it back up towards the cab, get underneath, make sure we don't shift it as we fold it. We're going to fold it very gently, get up underneath and attach it at the bottom. All right, now here we are back underneath the cover. We're inside the bed. Here is the bulkhead up front. And here is the rail that we just set everything on top of. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on these two cover retaining clamps here and here. So we're just going to loosen them up, get where it can slide over. Make sure that that notch stays nested inside the track. And then also we want to make sure that that groove captures the rail. Once that's in place, we can just go ahead and snug this up. Don't over tighten it, just get it nice and snug, then move up to the front, do the exact same thing right behind the cab of the truck. And tighten it down. and repeat the same process on the opposite side. Well, it's just that simple, and that concludes the installation.